of them. I want to go over what I call the 4 easy steps to invoice with quality controls in place to make sure that no contracts go uninvoiced. Next, we're going to go over the various ways to accept payments in both bulk and individually. I want to review the common reports and features to use to manage your receivables. Throughout the presentation this afternoon, I'm going to try my best to focus on areas that my support team, consultants, and myself receive inquiries about most often. You're going to find out some of the things I'm going to cover today you already know, for those of you who have been with us. Some may be a little too complex for your business, but just bear with me as I try to keep it, even keel. I don't want to get too high level or too boring for anyone. Okay, so with that said, the first thing I want to just take a quick look at is under the management. Now, we all know that only the administrators of the site have access to this area. Most of the accounting folks that I deal with are administrators of the site, so everyone on the call today should have access to this area. Under the site setup, we have the website setup. Under site-wide defaults, as the years have gone on, we have added a lot of features to this area. A lot of our clients are asking for things, and since it's an option for your site to have that feature or not, that's where we start. That's why we're adding everything to this area. Yes, it's a little overwhelming, but for the most part, once you set this up once, you do it once and you're done. The one thing I do want to point out on this call are the credit limits. A lot of our clients are saying, you know what, my sales reps keep on entering in contracts for people that I have on credit hold because they're not paying their bills. So we've added this feature where you have the ability as a manager to set up, don't allow proposals and or contracts to be entered into the system for people that are past due on AR. And as you can see here, you can update these fields. So if you guys are lenient and you want to give them 180 days, do so. If you guys are strict with your AR, give them 1 day. You know what, if they don't pay right away, or maybe give them 15. We'll give them the benefit of the doubt there. But you know what, if they don't pay within 15 days, nothing else is going to be entered into the system for those. Another feature that people overlook is the credit limit, just to be to show on the run sheet. So what this does is if you check it off here and they're past due on their AR, anytime the publishers, managers, or sales reps are looking at the run sheets on a regular basis, they're seeing those clients in red. So that should be warning them, you know what, I can't go after another proposal or contract, or you know what, maybe I should help with collections and see if maybe I can get this money paid to the company. Okay, so that's the credit limits here. Now as we scroll through here, a lot of this is geared towards sales, but we get to the accounts receivable area. We did update the option to have non-admins be able to void invoices. Before, only the admins of the site could void invoices. Well, now we have some corporations that have multiple business units sharing one software site. So now you have the ability, if you want non-admins to be able to unlock and void invoices, you do have that option. Not too many people uncheck this, but there are a few. Consolidated invoices by default. This is newer and this is important. A lot of us know that, I'm assuming a lot of us, all of the clients that I deal with are now doing packages, combo packages. You guys may have, your advertisers may be running in 6 different things that you offer. Your website, your print, your trade show, a sponsorship, a digital e-newsletter. And so what this allows us to do by checking this off and by creating consolidated invoices, this allows all of the accounting to be accurate and aggregated per product, but it allows us to give the advertiser one single document for their invoice. Example, 7 different products an advertiser runs in. The old application would give them 7 different invoices, 1 for each product. Now, if you have this option selected, it's giving them 1 invoice with 7 different line items. But the nice thing is, behind the scenes in Magazine Manager, your reporting and your AR is aggregated accurately for each of those line items. So I strongly, and most people are utilizing this feature. Just want to make sure that you guys are aware of it, and we'll review it a little further when we go to create our new invoices. The next one here is fairly new as well, and this allows you to create statements per billing contact. As some of our old clients who have been with us for quite a while, we only ever had the option to bill one person at a company location. Okay, and that worked for a while when we, 10 years ago. But now as we evolve and the market evolves, you guys probably have different billing contacts that you deal with per product. You may deal with an ad agency for the web ads where you're dealing with a, a personal billing contact at the advertiser location for the print. So now, since we, enhance the system to allow multiple billing contacts per company, you now have the same thing on the statement side. So now, and we're going to see this again a little later when I look at a particular company, I may end up having 3 statements, one for each ad agency that I deal with for that company, as well as an individual billing contact. Also in the site setup area, these 2 options I'm going to go over quickly. These are contact management, and most of the time it's the sales reps and the sales force that are using these features. But I have seen, and I do suggest and recommend, that some of the accounting teams are starting to use these features in the system as well, and one is the contact groups. As some of you may already know, contact groups allow you to place people and or companies into a particular group. That allows for easy searching and easy marketing. So as you can see here, some examples. Maybe you want to track who you have sent to a collection agency. So that way when the publisher says, how many people do we have at the collection agency, quickly run a report and you can quickly provide it to him or her. Also, a lot of times people I'm hearing, you may have different billing terms per companies or per advertisers. So this is a nice way to set up at the company level what billing terms are each of these people on. Okay. Also, you're going to see when you create new invoices, you have the ability to create new invoices by contact groups. So a lot of my clients will say, you know what, I have this group of people that have this special billing that I can't get off. It's a pain. It takes me 3 extra hours every month to do the billing for these people. How can I just do them separately? Well, you know what, set up a contact group for them and call them special billing. So that way when we get to the new invoicing, we're going to take care of them first because they're the ones that are the pain. And then that way you can treat them however you need to treat them, and then you can go and bill everyone else the standard way. Okay. Also, tear sheets is another good example. A lot of my clients are now emailing their invoices out of the software. Well, of course, we still have some of those people that require that tear sheet. So, of course, we can't email those right now. We have to print them out and snail mail them. So, in that case, same thing. You want to set up a contact group for all of those clients so you can act accordingly when you get over to the invoicing side. Okay. The other thing under contact management setup area are activity types. Now, this is a way throughout the system, whether you're in sales, production, or accounting, for you to really drill into the notes and activity in the CRM side of the system. So a lot of times now, I'm not sure, maybe it's the controller, maybe it's the publisher, just wants to quickly say, you know what, how many collection calls did we make this quarter? Or you know what, how many account maintenance calls did we have to deal with, or issues? Anything that you as accountants are getting from your managers or your publishers on things that they're trying to track or see, just so they can, make sure everything's in line, or even yourselves as managers or controllers managing your accounting staff, you guys may want to start thinking about different things that you may want to track. The nice thing about this, obviously, is the reporting. So now on a monthly basis, you can quickly run reports to see how many of these various types of activity your team has done. Okay. The next one is custom fields. In the database, we have the ability to create as many custom fields as we want. As it relates to accounting, there's probably 2 areas that you guys may want to set up custom fields. One is in the billing, collection, and budgeting area of the company record. And as you can see here, there's 2 that I have on this site. It's the tax ID, because I need that on my invoices for some of my international clients that require that tax ID. And then I also have a billing notes. And that's just for me, because I'm the one that has to manage all the billing. Any special notes that I just want to be aware of, I can place here. Again, the nice thing about custom fields, you can report. You can create any type of flex report in the system that will pull in any custom fields that you have. So you can have a simple report that you look at monthly, quarterly, annual that says company and billing notes, just so you can quickly see, what those billing notes may be. Okay. Another thing that you may want to do here as well, as far as an example, is that terms. If you didn't want to do it as a contact group and you want to put it here as a custom field, that's an option as well. You can create a custom field that says billing terms. You can make it a defined drop-down list, identify every company to that term, and now you have a nice quick report that you can see exactly what accounting terms every company that you deal with or advertiser that you deal with is on. Okay. The other place where accounting fields come into play are the production. Now, production custom fields are nice because they're tied to every individual contract. Okay. Number one request. They won't pay my invoice unless I have a PO number. You know what? Put the PO number as a custom field here. Salespeople have the ability to enter that number if they know it. If not, you can always update the number later per contract. And then when you invoice, you now have your PO number. That's another nice thing about custom fields. Custom fields can be added to the proposal and or invoice templates. So if there's custom information that your advertisers are requiring in order to be paid, there's never an excuse why we can't get it on the invoice. We know how important it is to get paid, and we will do everything we can to make sure we are able to put as much information onto those invoices as your advertisers and agencies need. Okay. The last thing under the site setup that I want to just quickly talk about is the invoice template. Now, this probably is going to be a webinar in itself coming soon. We have, because a lot of you guys want to display things differently on your invoice templates. Some of you want to give them, back to my original example of 7 line items or 7 items that they run every month. Some of you want to show them all 7 products that they ran, exactly what they ran, and exactly how much money you allocated to each of those. Others don't want to show the 7 details. Yeah, you had a sponsorship, you had a full ad, you had a banner ad, you had a booth and a newsletter, but you don't want to show them the price because that's secret, because it was part of a combo package, so you don't want them to see that price. You can hide that on the invoice or proposal templates. And then the third common is, you know what, I don't want them to see any of the 7 things that ran. I just want them to see that they owe me XYZ amount of money. All of those variations can be done using the templates, the invoice templates. You may end up having more than 1 or 2 standard ones that you currently have. You may have one that says combo package or, package A, package B, whatever those cases are. But it's possible. It's now possible because we've added all of the options that you guys have been requesting. Now, I will warn you. I'm not sure if I should say this on a webinar, but I'm going to say it anyway. If you guys don't talk to me next week, you know why. But I feel, and some of you guys have also told me this as well, we have overcomplicated the line item area of the templates. Because most of us, including myself, will come in here and be like, what do I need to do with all of these options to get what I'm looking for? Okay? And if you're not in here every day like myself, you're not going to know how to quickly do that. So in those cases, if you guys need help or you changed your processes or how you want to display things, you know what, give your software consultants a call. That's what they're there for. They know these areas. They're here to work for you. Get the template set up once and you're on your way. Don't get frustrated in here and spend too much time trying to get exactly what you want. Ask us, the experts. Okay, so that's the template. So enough with the management stuff. That was 15 minutes too much there. The next thing that I want to go over is, and this is something I typically wouldn't do. I don't do this in my accounts receivable trainings that I do, and I'm not sure if my consultants do it or not. But one thing I think is important is a lot of the accounting people that I speak with, they have no clue how the contracts get entered into the system. So they call and they're frustrated and they're like, wait a minute, where's this adjustment? Why didn't they, why isn't the adjustment right? Or where's the PO number? And it's like, well, you need to go back to the contract and you need to just update that information. And so I thought it would be, beneficial for me to just take a second here and quickly go over, how your sales people are entering the information into the system. And since it is a relational database, they're really doing all the work for you because you don't have to re-enter anything. What they're entering is, it flows straight over to you. But we all know that sometimes we all make mistakes, and sometimes it's the accounting folks that have to go in there and make things right before they can bill. So, just real quick, I want to just go through quickly and show you how they're entering in an order, okay? So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and just quickly add a print order, okay? I'm going to add 2 line items here. I'm going to add a print, and I'm going to add a digital. Right now, it's just a quick print one. So all of this stuff is set up by your, most of the time, administrators and or sales managers, all of the ad sizes, all of the rates. So that's all populating for the reps. So we're trying to leave as little work for the reps to do as possible. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and just pick a full page. You'll see that my rate changed. They have all of this information that they can enter if they need to. If they know that there's going to be a production charge, they can add it at this time. This is also a new feature for those of you who have been on board with us for a while. Before, this always used to be hidden, and we always used to make you put the production charge amount in the job jacket once the contract was created. Well, a lot of clients are now saying, you know what, I know what that production charge is up front. It's a set cost. It's not a per hour rate like we used to do. Is there any way that we can add that amount during the entry process? Yes, we can. We've added it right here for you. Okay. So now here are the adjustment area. Just so you accountants know, your administrators have the ability to set up their adjustments however they like. Some people will allow their reps to put any rate that they want. As long as they sell it for more than $1, they're okay with that. Other companies are very strict to their rate cards, and they don't allow their reps to come off rate cards. Whatever it is, that's the nice thing about the software is the flexibility. Whatever it is, however it is that your team decides to use adjustments, that can be set up. But just so you know, that flexibility is here should you see things coming in way under, what the card rates are in accounting. Now here is a page for custom field. So any of those custom fields that you've added to help accounting or what your advertisers are requesting on the invoice will be here. So just like our PO number. So now's the time that they can enter that should they have it or should they know what it is. A lot of taxes you can set up. We have a lot of Canadian clients that have various taxes per province. So that's all set up in the custom field area. We automatically calculate those taxes based on the province that was selected. That's all done here in the custom field area, tied to the proposal and the invoice. Everything flows through the system automatically. Split commissions if they want. If there's ever a commission issue, the reps have the ability to split it with whomever they want. If they want to give their boss 10% so they get a raise, they can do that here. If they want to split it with the coworker, they can. That flexibility is not controlled in any way. We weren't too worried with the original design of the software that the sales reps would be willing to give away commission percentages here. So that's why it was set up with no security. This is the screen that I want everyone to listen to. If ever anyone has got off the screen, please come back. The billing contact, like I mentioned before, we only used to ever be able to bill one person at a company. Now we have the ability to bill anyone who is associated with this record. So it is the sales rep's responsibility to select the right person to be billed. Now again, we can only have one default in the software. Now for those of you that have multiple business units, multiple products sharing one company record, we know that Jane is not going to be the default for product A, product B, and product Z. You may have 3 totally different billing contacts. So they need to be sure when they're in here, to double check this and just make sure that you're selecting the correct one. The other thing that is extremely important in this area is when it comes to ad agencies, okay? With the ad agencies, you probably never, ever, ever want to select a default ad agency, okay? The way the system was originally designed was as the default changes, so does the invoices. We want to make sure that the newest person who's at a company's location, FYI, the default, is getting that invoice. You know what? That doesn't apply to ad agencies. In most cases, whoever is the ad agency at the time of record is the ad agency that is responsible for that invoice indefinitely. So by selecting anyone other than the default, you are ensuring that no matter what time, what day you run, send, email that invoice, it will always be this exact person that you select. The only time it will ever change is if you're just using the default billing contact. Okay? I know that part's confusing. I have no problem if anyone wants to go over that a little bit more detail. Give me a call, send me a quick email. My software consultants or myself can, go through that again with you on your site. Okay? So quickly, I'm going to hit next. And now I'm going to select the issue. I'm going to go ahead and just put this in the July issue, make it simple, and hit next. Okay? The next question comes up, and I'm not sure if anyone has noticed it, but as we went through that entry wizard, there was nowhere for me to put installments on this ad. Okay? This is a pretty expensive ad for someone, and maybe they want to divide that $10,000 by 4 or by 2 payments. You have the ability to do that. What you need to do is you need to add the contract first. And now, if I go to edit this line item, you're going to see that I have a whole new option here that's called billing and installments. Okay? By default, we're defaulting it to the default billing contact because that's who I selected, which right now today is Jane. And she's getting billed $10,000 on 7/1. From this screen, you can do whatever you want to do here. You can create 12 installments. You can create 2. A lot of people do co-op ads. A lot of people are sharing ads. As long as those people are contacts of the main company record, you can now, let's just make this simple. I'm going to split this twice, 2 installments. The default, Jane, is responsible for the first payment. And you know what? I'm going to make Josh responsible for the second. Sorry. Okay? So now it's 50-50. So now when you guys go to bill this particular order, $5,000 of it is going to come up when you're invoicing the July, and another $5,000 is going to come up when you're invoicing August. Okay? But for sales, it was entered as a $10,000 contract, and that's what's going to be allocated over on the sales side. Okay? Nice thing about some of the new report suite reports, the sales reports, we also have added the ability to run those reports by billing installment date. So the sales rep, they or the managers, they may only want to see the $10,000. Yeah, we sold $10,000 in July, but you as an accountant, or maybe them as well as sales, want to know, what? Okay, we're splitting that out 5 and 5. So if I ran a report for July, I would see 5,000. If I ran it for August, I would see 5,000 as well. Okay? And so now I'm going to go back to the proposal. And the next one that I just want to quickly add, just so you guys can see it, not sure who's using it or not, is a non-schedule. Okay, so this is a lot of the website ads or digital ads that just have a start and an end date. We don't have necessarily an issue because this one we're going to make run from, okay, we're going to do a banner ad. I don't have a rate set up. I'm going to make it simple. I'm going to put a $5,000 ad, and this is going to start from July 21st and run through the end of the year. Okay? So there's no issues. I have one amount. This campaign total is $5,000. You can put in your information, make any adjustments that are necessary, put in your PO number if you need it. And you're going to see here, I'm going to select Josh because he deals with my digital. And now you're going to see, whoops, what happened here? Over inventory limit. Not sure if anyone on the phone is aware, but we do have an inventory module in the software. So if you guys are, concerned with selling over inventory, whether it's regarding your digital ads or your, your premium positions on the print, everybody's fighting over the front cover, the back cover. You guys have the ability to set up those inventory limits. And what this is saying is, you know what? You set up an inventory of 2 banners per day, and you now have 9. So the way that this was set up is you have 2 ways. You can either proceed, I got the warning, okay, allow your sales reps to enter it anyway, or you can totally stop them in their tracks. They wouldn't even be able to continue with this proposal or contract if that's the way you wanted it set up, depending on the leniency that you have on the ad size would dictate how you set your site up. So in this case, I'm going to just proceed without it. And now you can see I don't have to select issues because I already entered my time frame of 7 to December. Okay? And so now all they have to do, they send that proposal out. They have a way to, email it, save it to a PDF, and send it. The client sends it back in. Sometimes it goes directly to accounting. Accounting approves it. And now very quickly you come back into this proposal, various ways to get to this proposal. Since I'm right here, I'm going to use the easiest. And now I'm going to convert this to a contract. Okay? Again, another inventory that I have set up. I allowed the proposal to be entered, but now I want another control whenever it gets converted. Okay? I'm going to proceed anyway, and now those 2 line items are entered into the system. Okay? So just to give you a little background of where those insertions come from, I think it may, hopefully it was a little helpful for someone on the phone. I didn't waste everyone's time there. Okay, so the next thing I want to do is what I call the 4 simple steps to invoicing in the software. Okay? And I like to say that, these have what I call quality controls. If you do these 4 steps, it's pretty much guaranteed that you're not going to miss anything when invoicing, nor is anything going to get added after the accountant has invoiced and reconciled their books. I'm not sure about the people on the phone, but I get a lot of calls. You know what? I reconciled, everything matched, and now all of a sudden something's off. I can't figure out what happened. Well, you know what? One of those sales reps went in there and changed something. Or they added, not necessarily changed, because once you invoice something, we lock it, so your sales reps can't change it. But you know what? He went in there and added something different or added a new thing in there. Well, my answer to that is you forgot to close the issue. If you would have closed the issue, you wouldn't have been able to do that without coming through you first. Okay? So the first thing, which I'm sure most of you are already aware of, is the new invoice. So under customers, we have the accounts receivable folder, and we have new invoice. There's a lot of, the first thing you're going to do is select your template. So depending on who you're invoicing at that time, you would select the appropriate template. Now, again, this page, there's a lot of ways that people invoice. Some of you invoice by customer, some of you invoice by issue, some do it weekly, some do it daily, and some do it everything that runs for the month. I'm going to do invoicing once a month, and that's it, before I pull my hair out. So the first thing you're going to do is you're going to select what issues or billing date range do I want. Now be careful here, because with the example I just showed, even though I did a full page ad for the July issue, that has a July issue date. But my billing dates were half in July and half in August. So just be careful, because a lot of clients will say, you know what, this ad is $10,000. Well, you know what, they divided it 5 and 5. 5 have been in July, 5 have been in August. So just be aware of that. That's a question that comes up, every so often. Now, once you select your date, you can now come further and filter out as much detail as you want. So if you now want to go in there and do all your special billing first, you can do that. If you want to do your prepays only or your tear sheet clients, you can invoice that way. Okay? If you want to do it just by company, you can. The next drop down here is by product or rate card. So for those of you that have multiple business units in one site, you guys probably are going to do it by business units, because you guys probably have various invoice templates with different logos for the different products and or the different business units. So just be, these are hidden here. A lot of people just, you're in here every day, you forget that they're there. Just want to make sure that everyone's aware of them and don't forget about them. Also to the right, because I set up in my site-wide setting to consolidate invoices per billing contract, this is automatically checked. If I didn't have that option checked, it would still be here. I would just have to manually remember to check it off each time. So depending on your process and your organization, you need to determine, are most of the time I'm going to do consolidated or not, and then you can set that site-wide setting appropriately. So here, I'm going to go ahead and hit search. Wait a minute, I should have more in here. Just bear with me 1 second. All right, I guess it just loved this ABC unit. Well, I don't, so I'm going to just close that. I'm going to go back to my new invoice. I'm going to pick my final webinar template. I have the month of, I am going to use the example that I bill everything monthly. Everything that ran or is going to run next month, I'm billing, or this month, wow. I lost a month there. I'm going to go ahead and bill that right now. Okay, so right now, every single product that has a billing date of 7/1 through 7/31 appears. Okay, now most of you will spot check this to make sure nothing is out of line. As you can see here, SL Powers, that was my example one. I have four different people here that I'm billing just with my July contracts because I'm dealing with 4 different people on various products and various products. So here, for this example, I'm just going to bill, to make it simple, all of SL Powers. Okay? And because I have it consolidated, you know, these 2 line items are going to be on one document. These 2 are going to be on one document. At the very bottom, you simply hit Invoice Selected Items. Whether it's 1 or 500, you just invoice the entire month's worth of issues and or products with a click of that button. And now you can, you can do what you want with these right now. I mean, you can preview them. If you want, you'll see the consolidated invoice, which means to you that there's more than one line item. To the client, they don't know that behind the scenes in our application, you have individual invoice numbers tied to these, so your reporting and aggregation is all correct. But to the client, they get one invoice and they're happy, especially for those of you that have, you know, the 7 to 20 products that are running every single month. Okay? So if we close out of here, at this point you have the ability to print a PDF, or email these out right from within the system. The other nice thing, once you do any of these features, it locks the invoice. So no one can change any of those line items unless it's an administrator. And at that point, you then would have to unlock it and then make your changes and resend it out. We put those security processes in place for a reason. Most accountants appreciate it. Some of them don't like it because it does take an extra click or 2 to change something. But hopefully with the streamline and the controls, it helps more than dampers your process there. Okay? And so from here, you can go ahead and create more if you needed to. So that's step 1, is you create the invoices. Step 2, under the reports menu, under accounts receivable, there's something that's called unbilled charges. Okay? This is a very simple report, and you're going to see that this is going to take me 30 seconds to run. And all I'm going to do is I'm running this report for the same criteria that I just invoiced. Okay? So again, whether that's weekly, whether it's per product, whether it's per company, or in my example, it was supposed to be everything that ran in July. Okay? Now, some people will say no, because the purpose of this report is to see, are there any contracts in the system that have not been invoiced for the period that I was supposedly just invoiced. Okay? I personally prefer to run it for everything. I want to see what I invoiced and what I may have missed. So now if you run this, the only real thing that you want to pull your eyes towards is the invoice number. So right now, as an accountant, you're going to say, wait a minute, I just invoiced my July. Everything that ran in July, where are all these invoice numbers? Well, you know what? Sorry, but you forgot things. For whatever reason, maybe it was the search criteria, maybe you got interrupted 25 times. I know that never happens, but just in case that's what happened. Something happened where for whatever reason these were not invoiced. You know what? No big deal. I'm now going to go back over to my new invoice page, and I'm going to go try to figure out what I did wrong. At the end of the day, when you run this report, you want to make sure that nothing appears here. You want to make sure that nothing was left uninvoiced for the time period. Okay? It's a quick report. It doesn't take long, and it will save you a bunch of headaches, I promise. After that, you now know everything has been invoiced. Like I mentioned earlier, now you want to go and close the issue. It's very simple to do. It takes another few seconds. You come in here, and now I'm going to close everything that has an issue date in the month of July. Because everything's billed, I'm done. I don't want anyone sneaking anything in there on me. Very quickly at the bottom of the page, you close the issue. You're done. Nothing's going to change. Your number should never not reconcile at this point. Now, some of you may say, you know what, they always change stuff after I invoice. Sometimes it's my fault because I made a mistake, and other times we have to make good, or whatever the case may be. Just as easy as it was for me to close, you can reopen it. All you do is you come right back into this area, you look at the close, you go to the bottom and reopen. Okay? So now, that we have everything. Now the next question is, okay, that was easy. I just did that within 5 minutes. Now, what do I do with this data? I have all this data. Oh my gosh, I have to get this into my accounting system. I use Peachtree or NetSuite or Lawson or Epicor or QuickBooks. There's a lot, depending. Everyone's different. I just mentioned 5 off the top of my head. Really it comes down to 3 things. One, as some of you are aware, we do integrate with the U.S. version of QuickBooks. So if you have QuickBooks and you're using our application to invoice, I strongly recommend that you get with my colleague Jacob, who is our internal QuickBooks expert, and talk about the integration. Because what you would do, for those of you that may or that do the QuickBooks, all you do now is you come to this send data to QuickBooks, and you now push everything you just did over to QuickBooks. So now both of them are totally in sync. There was no extra manual data entry or anything. And you're done. And now they're both in sync and everybody's happy and you move on. For those of you that don't use QuickBooks and use one of the other systems that I may have mentioned, we have under reports, I'm actually going to show you 2 reports here. We have what we call the GL summary report. Okay, this particular report was probably designed about 8 years ago. And at that time, most of the clients that were using our software were, billing one issue 1 year at a time. So if you come here real quick, and I don't believe that anyone still does it this way, but maybe there is. That's why I'm taking a minute to go over it. You can run this report, and very quickly, it's going to give you all of the summary information at the top and all of the details below. 9 times out of 10, people are posting these aggregate numbers into the accounting package. They're relying on the details in our application, our software, and then they're posting the aggregate numbers in the accounting package. If you need the details, they're all here at the bottom, and you can export that out. Now, some of you, most of you are probably saying, I don't do this. It would take me, 3 days to do this if I had to do it by product, by day, whatever the case may be. So that's why we have added a new report under the Management Standard Flex Reports V2. There is another unbilled, sorry, stuck on that unbilled charge there. Here we have the GL Summary V2 report. Okay, and you're going to see that this one's a little different. And now, back to my original example, I'm going to go ahead and run this report for the month of July. Okay, and now the one thing that's missing is the summary. Why? Because every client wants it different. Some clients want it subcategory, or grouped and totaled by the charge. Some people want it by rate card, and some people want it by product. So what we've done is our standard report is all detailed with no summaries. But the nice thing again is you have the ability to make a copy of this, and you can play and manipulate this report however you like. You can sort it, you can total it, and you can group it accordingly. Okay, and so here are all the details of your July issue for you to put into your accounting package, whether you want it to be aggregate numbers or details. Okay, the third option, and a lot of you have taken advantage of it, is your accounting package may have a special format that it requires of all of this detail, and it may be totally different than what you see here. In those cases, talk with your software consultant, talk with me. We can work together to create a custom AR export from our system, so you can then once a month export it over to your accounting package, and now you have the details in both. Okay, everybody does it differently. I haven't heard of any one way that's better than the other. It's whatever works best for you and your organization. Okay, so that's the simple 4-step process. Create the new invoice, run the unbilled charge report, close the issue, and then run your GL summary report to post your credit to your income account and your debits to your AR accounts in your accounting package. Okay. The next thing is receiving payments. I always suggest let's start with the bulk payments first. Under the customer's accounts receivable, you have this AR aging for prepay apply. That's a long title for this report. But what this does, for those of you that accept a lot of prepayments ahead of time, so I'm assuming what you guys do is you're always going to take the money whenever they're willing to pay you. So you're going to take that prepayment and you're going to apply it to the customer account. In essence, it's deferred revenue. You haven't really earned that yet because you haven't even invoiced because the ads or the banners haven't even run yet. Okay? So once all that money is applied when you receive it, then I would suggest you run this report. Because now, since you invoice, you obviously now have invoices that may apply to your prepayments. So now you can see anything, and it's hard to see on my screen, but where it's white, that just quickly is an eye, it denotes that, you know what, there's open invoices now with a customer that has a credit or a prepaid balance on it. We, by default, allocate that money to the oldest invoices first. You have the ability to allocate that money however you like. I know a lot of my clients used to, you know, they had this big, huge, you know, combo package, it's 85 lines, and, you know, and at the end of the day, they pay $1,200 a month. So in essence, it doesn't matter what all these invoices are as they're running. At the end of the day, you know that as your client pays $12,000 a month, you're applying it to the oldest invoice first. Because at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter exactly which one with those combo packages. So this is a nice way to allow that to happen, is you always just default it to the oldest one first. Also, you can see we've added hyperlinks here to the invoice number, because a lot of clients are like, wait a minute, I don't even know what products. Well, you can see that this is a pretty busy page here. So we're not able to add a lot of the detailed information that you guys were requesting. So what we thought we would do to start, to see if it would help, and I think it's helped a lot, is we just add the invoice number. If you click on it, it's going to open a new tab for you with the invoice number right on it, so you can quickly look and see exactly what publication that's for. And now you know, okay, yes, I can apply this prepayment to that product. Nice thing is, at the very end, hit apply prepays, and all of your prepayments are totally applied. I refer to this as an internal transfer. You're transferring money from your customer account to open invoices in the matter of a button. Okay? The second option that we have here is for those of you that are integrated with your merchant accounts with our software. It's called the AR Aging Summary with Batch Credit Card Processing. I recommend and suggest any of you that have more than 10% of your customers that pay with a credit card every single month, I would suggest that you look into integrating your merchant with us. Why? Because this feature will save you time. It just depends, does it save you enough time for the investment up front? The investment is not that much. To integrate, to get this all set up, it's roughly $500. Our controller at Mirabel Technologies saves 9 hours every time she does billing with this particular report. Okay. Now again, this is a sorry, I didn't mean to reprocess it. This is a test account, so you're going to see there's probably only 6 clients here. But what this does is once you receive a payment, a credit card payment from your client, it's going to store that credit card. Now we don't store the credit card in Magazine Manager. It's stored at Plug and Pay, which is PCI compliant. But what this does now is any time there's an open invoice with someone who has a credit card on file, it's going to show for you in this report. So right now, I have 5 clients who have an open balance that I have a credit card on file. Most people will just come here, not even look at this. They don't care. They're like, I got a credit card on file. They're paying me what they owe me. They're going to come in here and charge everybody. You have the ability to come through and manipulate this. If you know BMW is a late payer, you're not allowed to process their credit card to the 15th, you can always uncheck these. But at the end of the day, when you hit this button, you now process all of those credit cards, whether it's 10 or whether it's 800, like some of our companies. The nice thing, you will get a report. Anyone that has a expired credit card or insufficient funds, it's not going to go through, but you're going to get a message, and now you obviously will follow up with them to see why their credit card has no money on it. Okay? So now, those are the 2 mass ways, and then the way that most of you guys are probably familiar with is the receive payment window. Okay? This is where you would go in to receive individual payments for your customers. In this case, the SL Powers, which is my test company that we've been using, the payment method, you put in whatever payment method it is. Now, a lot of people will question, how do I credit, or how do I write off something, or how do I make a special type of adjustment? They're all right here in your payment method. So if you need to write off, you know, $500 of this particular invoice because you guys made a mistake internally, or whatever the case may be, you can do that right here. And you're just going to go ahead and write it off. If you need to, you know, do a credit memo for another invoice, you can do that. It's all done right here. Okay? I'm not allowed to credit more than $200, so I need to do the $200 max there. The other thing that you guys see on this screen that you may not see on yours is the refund option. If you have the need for the refund option and you don't have it on your site, open a tech support ticket and ask them to please add it. What our refund does is it only refunds money that is sitting in the customer account. Okay? So if they overpay something, or they paid something, you know, they overpaid, so any overpayment goes to the customer account. Right now in my customer account I have $500 sitting there. So if I want to refund SL Powers $500, I would come in here, refund it as a check, refund from my customer account, and hit the refund button. Okay, so there's a lot of things that can happen in this receive payment window. The most important one is this payment method and all the options that are here. The other nice thing that's nice about these payment methods, and you're going to see in a minute, is that we itemize all of those on our transaction report. Okay, so I received all my money. Some of you will now go into the invoice search page. You're going to go to the invoice date of anything you just did in July 1st through the 31st. You now want to pull it only for the people that have paid via a prepayment, a batch payment, or an individual payment. And now you're going to run this. There only happens to be 3 that had payments. But now some of you will print with payments and now email all of your clients a paid receipt. And as you can see, that process took less than 2 minutes. You hit email, and now every single one of your clients have a paid receipt for any invoice that was dated in July. Okay? Just in, you know, things that people are using, just want to make sure that everybody's aware. Try to, you know, learn from one another, trying to teach you what, you know, other clients that I deal with, you know, work with, you know, use and are helpful. So now after that, well, now we have to reconcile our cash, because now I received all this payment. Now I need to make sure it matches. So under reports, accounts receivable, I always suggest and recommend the transaction report. Happens to be my favorite report, probably because it took 11 months to create and test. But if you come in here for the month of July 1st through the 18th, very quickly, I can see exactly what happened. I can see my balance forward. I can see what was invoiced, what payments did I receive. What I like is this right here, is the aggregation of every single payment method. So I can make sure quickly that this matches everything that I have in hand. If it doesn't, or if something is off, or you don't understand or recognize any of these numbers, simply click on it, and at the very bottom, it's going to bring you directly to the details that make up that number. So here's the $600. This is where it came from. You know what? Maybe you mistyped it. You know, maybe it says 6, but it really should have been 5. Well, now you can go in there and change it if you need to. Okay? The other thing I like to point out here is sometimes people are like, Dawn, you know what? I balanced every month, and for some reason I'm off, you know, $60. I cannot figure it out anywhere. I always suggest the first place to look are your voided invoice and payment reports. We don't restrict an invoice or a payment to be voided at any time. Now again, it is restricted for admins only, but they can go in there and void or do at any time. So 9 times out of 10, if there's something that's off and you followed everything that we've gone over today, 9 times out of 10, someone voided something and didn't let you know. So these reports will quickly show you that. You know, again, you can do it by date. Most people will do this per month, you know, by product, whatever the case may be. And this will give you a little audit. It's going to let you know exactly who voided it too. So for that person who says, I didn't do it, well, sorry you did. So just keep that in mind, and just remember that those 2 reports are there for reconciling purposes should you need them. Okay? Lastly, and I know I'm running out of time, I'm going to try to talk really fast, but the last thing is receivables. Okay, so now I've invoiced I received all my payments. Now I need to go after my, my bad debt. So 9 times out of 10, you're going to start with accounts receivable, the summary report. A lot of people like this report because it's a drill-through report. So right now, you guys know who your late payers are, who your net 60, who your net 30. You know who your problems are. And so at any point, you can click through and see the details of any of this. Okay? Now, the AR aging summary, I will say, mostly is for the controllers, the publishers, the high-level management, because they're not the ones that care about the nitty-gritty details. They just want to see at the end of the day, you know what? I'm owed $133,000. And you know what, Patty? You better go get it because your threshold is $100,000 at any time. Okay? So really, this is what they're looking for. Now, some of you on the phone may be actually responsible for the collection part. So you need to know more detail than this. So what I suggest with the report I like is under management, the V2, is the AR aging detail. You'll see that there's a lot more ways to search this report. You can search it by customer, by business unit, by rep, by bucket. Maybe your responsibility is anyone over 120 days and you don't really care about anyone else. If you're responsible for everything, then just leave everything alone and hit search. Okay? This report is going to give you all of that AR information that you need to make the call. So right now, from this report, you can call Mark because his phone number's here, his name's here. You know you're calling Mark, and you know exactly what you're calling about because all the details are here. This, again, is a flex report that you have the ability to customize. A lot of people will make a copy of this, and the first thing they do is they group it by billing company. Because, yeah, it's great that I tell you that Seventh Wave Recording owes me 8 different invoices and all the details, but the first thing they're going to say is, okay, how much do I need to cut the check for? Well, you don't want to be running your calculator on the phone. It would be nice for it to be right here. So that's a simple save this report, group it by billing company, and you're set. Some of you may also want to add some of those custom fields to this report. Maybe you want to see on this report, you know what, they're net 30, they're net 60, they're special. So I'm not going to call them because they have special arrangements. So that's the nice thing about this report, and that's why we did it in a flex report versus another ASP report, is so that you guys have that flexibility to add pertinent information as it relates to you. The next thing as far as receivables is we also have a My List feature. Now this feature is brand new, so you guys may not know about it at all. The original intent was for salespeople to quickly be able to work their list. Make a call, leave a note, move on. Okay? We also added it to the accounts receivable, and the same thing. You can do it by buckets if you want to. Most people will come in here and just look at it with all open invoices, whether it's current or old. And so you can see here that if you click on it, it's going to give you some detail, a high level. It's going to give you the phone number, and then from here, you have the ability to go pay those invoices right away. If you get them on the phone, they're like, here's my credit card number, Joan, just run the credit card. You can do that. Or you can go directly to the customer page from here. The other nice thing that you see here is, you know what? You can leave an activity because your boss is going to say, did you call them? Yes, I did. You're going to tag it with that activity that we talked about. You know what? It's a collection call. Left voicemail. Jane is on vacation, whatever the case may be, until, okay? And now you're going to hit add. So now, as an accounts receivable person, when your boss or even yourself at the end of the day, you can now run an activity report, which happens to reside under the sales folder, but we can always move it. Now you're going to come here, and you're going to run this report just to see exactly if you did everything that you were supposed to do today. Okay? And so now if I go down to myself, Dawn, I can quickly say, okay, you know what? Good. I was supposed to call Mark, Jane, and Mark twice, and I did all that. You know what? I'm good. I can leave for the day. Okay? So a lot of people are starting to work this My List. One thing I do want to mention to you guys, if there's anything that in this My List that would make it easier or more robust, I've already got a lot of good feedback. One, a couple I'll share with you is, you know what? I need to look at my aging by rep because that's how we deal with it. You know what? That's a good request, and we have that on the list to see if maybe we can incorporate a rep search into this AR. The other big one is by business unit. A lot of companies are having accounting people per business unit, So again, they don't care that 360 Bike owes $4,000. They only care how much they owe me for my business unit. So that's another feature that we're going to try to incorporate here. So with that all in mind, since this is a new feature, now is the time to take a quick look at it, see if there's anything that we can add quickly or, that makes sense for all of our customers, and request that. Put it in as a support ticket, as a wish list, and I personally will be reviewing those when we get to that project and see which ones I can add that makes sense for everybody. Okay? The last thing quickly are the statements. A lot of you use our statements and love them. I don't know if any of you are on the phone, but I do have some of my customers that hate our statements and are not using them. The good thing that I want to just throw out there is the statements is one of our top development projects for next quarter. Now, I will say that I have right now 24 requests of things that people want differently on our statements. I will guarantee you that we are not going to be able to add all 24 requests. If I did that, it would overcomplicate it for every single one of you. So over the next few weeks, we do have internal meetings where we're going to discuss what of these 24 items for our statement make most sense for everyone, and we're going to add those, and we're going to make the statements a little bit more robust as per your request. Okay? But with that being said, right now with the statements, I'm running them per billing contact. So right now, you can see SL Powers has all kind of different statements because of all the different billing contacts that SL Powers deals with. And at the very bottom, you can preview those. And the nice thing about here, you can customize this. You can delete the aging. You can add as much information to this lower text as you want. And the very nice thing is once you get that template created, at the very bottom of this, you can now email blast the statements out. My accountants love this because they, every week, every month, sales reps love this too. You want to be careful whether you want to tell them or not because those sales reps that get paid commissions on cash receipts will come in here and email these statements every week because they want paid. So you want to be careful who you show this to and who you're not, but it is very nice and it works. A lot of clients use this and they say they get paid so much quicker because I mean, oh geez, that was good. I thought I almost did a boo-boo there. It was just asking for an email address and an email subject. All right, so yes, I did talk for 58 minutes nonstop. I hope it was useful, and I do appreciate your time that you guys gave me this afternoon. I will leave the call open for a few minutes if there's any outstanding questions. If anything that I've gone over today you weren't aware of or you're not sure of or you didn't understand, definitely remember that we did redo our help files. We have tons of help files now around the accounts receivable module. If you go under the how-tos under accounts receivable, you're going to see all of these, how do I do this? I mean, all of these quick features, all of these functions. So definitely take a quick look out there. Look at the webinars. Look at the videos. If you still can't figure it out, schedule time with me or my consultant. That's what we're here for. We want to make your process easier. We want you to use Magazine Manager to its fullest potential. Thank you, guys. Have a great afternoon.